Welcome back. It's going to be part 2 of our infield solving problems with SiteWorks, building this retaining wall off a design. So before we built our slab kind of as our takeoff point, things that are there. I'm actually going to hit this cogwheel. I'm going to turn these point elevations off, clean my screen up a little bit. What we're going to do next is the customer had stated they wanted to come off 8 feet from this garage, this whole wall length, and then come down 10 feet, 8 feet off. A couple of ways we could do this. We could offset that line. We could bang some 90s. We could do station and offset. What I think is sometimes the easiest, and like I said, I love to bang 90s, so I'm going to come back into my hamburger menu Kogo, create points and arcs. I do this instead of just offsetting the line because the customer does want to bump out in this wall. So if we offset that line, we're going to then have to delete the line and then go through and bang the 90s anyways. So I'm going to point bearing distance. My starting point is going to be this point right here, 0.9. And you saw before, if we just choose again, it's 49850, which if you remember from before is our actual finished grade elevation. So I'm going to hit accept, right? I know it's going to come over 8 feet. It's going to be 0. See how it just did 90 degrees? Because that's 90 based on north, east, southwest. So I'm going to touch in my deflection angle, and I want to deflect my 90 off of that wall point right there. So we'll zoom out. Now I come completely 90 off that wall line. Come 8 feet over, because that's what the customer has stated. I'm going to carry that finished grade elevation over 0. I'm going to call this corner retain. There we go. And now we're going to just take our sketch that the customer gave us, and we're just going to bang 90s around this. We're just going to go 8 feet. And that's going to be a 4x8 kind of box. You will see there's a create line from points. I don't want to do that yet because I do have to put some lines that are going to come out like little wing walls, if you will, which will make sense in a little bit. So we're going to come back over our 4. I'm going to come over our 8. And I think the customer had stated they wanted to store some firewood for the garage or possibly put a generator in this area. We're doing this so we can maybe go pound some steaks, give a recommendation if this is big enough, small enough. Sometimes people like to see things in a visual way. So we're at a point where we got to figure out, hey, how we're going to offset this points from here. You could do a couple of things. You could try to figure that out, right, or the math, or we could come into our hamburger, our Kogo, go to our review and edit data, right? You could compute it down and out if you really wanted to, right? You could tap your line or your points and gather that to kind of get to that point. The other thing we could do is we could offset that line like we had spoken about before, or we can come off here. We could pick this as our origin point, zoom in, and it just depends on what your comfort level is, what's fastest for you. And I'm very preferable to the point bearing distance. Sorry, I keep choosing. I need to choose my origin point and then hit accept. There we go. Right, once again, my deflection angle. I'm going to touch back to this point right there. Snap to that point. So I could come out here. I could go 8 feet because I know it's just an offset of 8 feet. So there's that. And then I could come over 8 feet. There's that. If I really wanted to, I could come over another 8 feet. Right? All I did was make a box. Then if you bang 90, you're back to where you started. So, but what we actually have to do is we gotta come to there, go back to that point. We gotta turn out 8 feet, and then this is where this is our end of our retaining wall. And they actually wanted to go 16 here. And from here, what we're going to end up doing is they do want to come out up into here to the 502 contour because they do want the top of their wall to be 502. That'll be our next part is what we're going to do. But what we're going to do is we're going to hit the X and let's just see what we've started to create. We bring our 3D surface, you can start to see our wall is forming of where it needs to be. And then we're just going to build off from this. All right, so in our next part, we'll put the PDF in and we'll start getting our contouring squared away.